Welcome, everyone. Today, we're diving headfirst into the world of data analytics. We're going to talk about how to take this massive sea of raw information and turn it into really powerful, game-changing decisions. You ready? Let's get into it. Okay, to kick things off, let me just throw a number at you that might just blow your mind. 1.2 trillion. Any guesses? Well, that's how many searches Google handles every single year. We are literally swimming in data, creating more and more of it every single second, adding to this huge digital ocean.
And you know all that data? It's not just random noise. The economists famously call data the world's most valuable resource. But here's the catch. Just like oil or gold, it's pretty useless if you don't know how to refine it, right? And that is exactly where data analytics comes into play.
So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with a little welcome to the data age. Then we'll meet our modern-day detective. After that, we'll get into their 6-step playbook, dig into the analyst's mindset, and wrap up by looking at what a data-driven future could mean for you.
All right, let's jump right into our first section. Welcome to the data age.
So let's get right down to it. What is data analysis anyway? Well, at its core, it's all about taking a huge, messy pile of facts, numbers, text, whatever, and turning it into something that actually makes sense. It's the process of finding the story in the data so we can draw conclusions, make predictions, and ultimately make way smarter decisions.
Okay, so who are the people who perform this kind of magic? Well, I think one of the best ways to think about a data analyst is as a modern-day detective. And who's the most famous detective of all? Sherlock Holmes, right? He once said, data, 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 I can't make bricks without clay. And honestly, that just hits the nail on the head. For an analyst, data is the clay. It's the raw material you absolutely need to build a case and solve the mystery.
So that's what a data analyst does. They're the ones on the ground gathering all the clues, piecing them together, and then presenting the case in a way that everyone can understand. They're the heroes finding the hidden story that the data is trying to tell us.
Now, you might have heard the term data scientist thrown around. So what's the difference? Well, if the data analyst is the detective solving existing mysteries with the clues they have, the data scientist is more like an inventor. They're creating totally new ways to look at the world, building complex models to predict the future, and asking questions we didn't even know we had.
All right, every good detective needs a process, right? A reliable method. For data analysts, it's this awesome 6-step playbook.
This is basically their roadmap from question to answer. First, you ask. You got to know what problem you're trying to solve. Then you prepare by gathering all the data you need. Next up is process, and this is a big one. Cleaning up that data so it's actually usable. Then the fun part. You analyze it, looking for patterns and aha moments. After that, you share what you found, because insights are useless if you keep them to yourself. And finally, you act. You use those findings to actually solve the problem. See? It's a complete loop.
And this isn't just theory. This process gets real results. Take this company, for example. They had a huge problem with new employees quitting. So they used this 6-step process. They asked why are people leaving and started analyzing their data. And you know what they found? The hiring process itself was a huge factor. The longer and more complicated it was, the more likely people were to leave. So they acted on that insight, streamlined their hiring, and boom, employee turnover dropped significantly.
Okay, so having the playbook is great, but what about the person using it? What makes a great analyst tick? Let's get into the analyst's mindset. Think of these as their superpowers.
So there are 5 core skills we're talking about here: curiosity, understanding context, having a technical mindset, data design, and data strategy. Now I know some of those might sound kind of fancy or intimidating, but I'm willing to bet you're already using these skills every single day without even realizing it.
Seriously, think about it. Ever organize your contacts on your phone? That's data design. Or what about making a grocery list and grouping things by aisle? That's understanding context. Even just figuring out the steps to pay your bills online, that's a technical mindset in action. See, you've already got the foundations.
Let's zoom in on that last one for a second. Data strategy. What is that? It's basically the big picture plan. It's about managing all the moving parts, the people, the processes, the tools, to make sure you actually reach your goal.
And to make it super simple, let's use an analogy. Mowing the lawn. Your strategy involves 3 things, right? First, the people. That's you. You read the manual so you know what you're doing.
Second, the process. You walk the lawn and clear away any rocks or big sticks. And third, the tools. You make sure the mower has gas and oil. That's it. That's a data strategy. Simple, right?
Okay, another huge part of this mindset is being a great question asker. And maybe the most important question an analyst can ask is, what is the root cause of this problem? Because it's so easy to get stuck treating symptoms, but great analysts, they dig deeper to find the real issue so they can solve it for good.
And there's this beautifully simple yet super powerful technique for doing just that. It's called the 5 whys. You literally just keep asking why over and over. Each why peels back another layer of the problem, and you'd be amazed. By the time you get to that 5th why, you've often stumbled upon a root cause that's totally unexpected, but also totally fixable.
So let's recap. We've met our detective, we've got their playbook, and we've peeked inside their mindset. Now let's bring it all home and talk about what a future in data analytics could look like for you.
Okay, let's talk about the practical stuff, the money. The median entry-level salary for a data analyst, it's right around $92,000. So yeah, it's a field that's not just fascinating, it's also a really solid career choice.
And the demand? Oh, it's huge. We're talking about nearly 500,000 open jobs in data analytics right now. I mean, think about it. Every single industry needs people who can make sense of data. The opportunity out there is just massive.
But honestly, the real payoff here goes way beyond a good salary. The ultimate reward is the impact you get to have. You get to be the person who finds the story nobody else saw, who solves the puzzle, and who delivers that one insight that leads to real, meaningful change.
So when you boil it all down, data analysis is really about being curious, thinking critically, and just loving a good puzzle. The world is absolutely overflowing with data, and every single bite of it is telling a story. So the only question left is, what questions will you answer?